Psychology says people who talk out loud to themselves when alone are often misunderstood. Not crazy, not mentally unstable, and definitely not losing their minds. Society has attached a stigma to self-talk, painting it as something strange or concerning. But the truth is far different from what most people believe. If you have ever caught yourself having a full conversation with yourself, narrating your actions, or muttering your way through a problem, you are not alone. In fact, you are in exceptional company. In many cases, your brain works at a velocity that requires verbal output just to keep things organized. Your mind is moving so fast, processing so much information that it needs an outlet. And if you have a habit of muttering, debating, or whispering to yourself throughout the day, there are real psychological reasons behind it. These are not signs of something wrong. They are indicators of something quite remarkable about how your brain functions. Let us explore the fascinating science behind why intelligent, high-functioning people talk to themselves. If you talk to yourself, you probably are not hallucinating conversations or slipping into some alternate reality. You are materializing your thoughts, giving them form and substance. There is a crucial difference between thinking something and saying it out loud, and your brain knows this instinctively. Research shows that vocalizing a thought makes it tangible, allowing you to examine it objectively. When an idea lives only in your head, it remains abstract, fluid, and sometimes confusing. But the moment you speak it aloud, it becomes concrete. You can hear it, evaluate it, and interact with it as if it were a separate entity. You would rather hear the idea out loud than let it bounce around chaotically in your head. This is not a weakness or a quirk. It is a sophisticated cognitive strategy. Your brain has learned that vocalization brings order to mental chaos. Most people's minds are full of fog and abstract feelings, swirling thoughts that never quite crystallize into clear concepts. But your brain seeks structure. You refuse to let your thoughts remain vague and undefined. You use your voice to give physical form to your ideas so you can analyze them, critique them, and improve them. It is like taking something invisible and making it visible, something intangible and making it real. You are not struggling to think. You are thinking so deeply that silence is not enough to contain it. Your internal dialogue is so rich, so complex, so layered that it demands external expression. The velocity of your thoughts requires a release valve, and speech provides exactly that. Think about it this way. Architects create blueprints to visualize buildings. Musicians write sheet music to capture melodies. And you? You speak your thoughts aloud to give them structure and clarity. It's not madness, it's mastery of your own cognitive process. Now, giving structure to your thoughts explains why you debate yourself in the shower, why you have philosophical discussions with yourself while cooking, or why you talk through your day as if narrating a documentary. But it doesn't explain why you mutter to yourself when you're re-looking for your keys or trying to solve a problem. That comes down to a specific evolutionary trait that separates efficient thinkers from everyone else. People who talk to themselves aren't just making noise for the sake of it. They are upgrading their processing speed in real time. This is where self-talk becomes almost like a superpower. Research shows that saying the name of an object you are looking for actually activates the visual cortex in your brain more effectively than silent searching. Psychology calls this stimulus upregulation, and it's a game changer for how quickly and efficiently you can complete tasks. When you say phone or keys out loud, your brain doesn't just passively hear the word. It actively visualizes the item faster and filters out distractions with surgical precision. While others wander around aimlessly, scanning their environment with unfocused attention, You are programming your brain like a search engine. You've given it specific parameters, a clear target, and activated the exact neural pathways needed to locate what you're looking for. You talk to yourself because you are hyperfocused on efficiency. You've discovered, either consciously or unconsciously, that verbal reinforcement sharpens your attention. You aren't losing it. You are executing a task with higher precision than the average person. You're not confused or disorganized. You're actually more organized than people who search in silence. This principle extends beyond just finding lost items. When you talk yourself through a complex task, like assembling furniture, following a recipe, or solving a technical problem, you're creating a verbal roadmap. Each spoken step becomes a checkpoint, ensuring you don't skip crucial details or get lost in the complexity. Your brain treats your voice as an external guide, even though it's coming from you. It's a brilliant hack that leverages both your auditory and cognitive systems simultaneously. You're essentially being your own GPS, your own instruction manual, your own coach, all through the power of vocalization. But having a sharp focus is useless if your emotions are out of control, if anxiety derails you, or if stress clouds your judgment. And this is where your habit of self-talk becomes your greatest emotional defense mechanism, your secret weapon against the chaos of feelings. Many people who talk to themselves do so in the second or third person. You might say, "Come on, you can do this," or "Why did you do that?" Or "You've got this, just breathe." This isn't you dissociating from reality. It's you mastering reality. Research shows this is called distance self-talk, and it signals a high level of emotional intelligence. By talking to yourself as if you were another person, you create psychological distance from your stress, your fears, and your overwhelming emotions. It's like stepping outside yourself to gain perspective. You don't spiral into anxiety. You coach yourself out of it. Instead of being consumed by panic or frustration, you observe it, acknowledge it, and then guide yourself through it. You are your own therapist, your own motivator, and your own critic, all rolled into one incredibly self-aware package. This allows you to stay cool under pressure when others would panic. While people around you are falling apart, you're having a calm, rational conversation with yourself about the next steps. You don't need someone else to calm you down because you have already mastered the art of soothing your own nervous system. Think about athletes who talk to themselves during competition. They're not crazy. They're using distance self-talk to regulate their performance anxiety. Think about professionals who mutter encouragement to themselves before big presentations. They're activating their self-regulation systems. You do this naturally, perhaps without even realizing how sophisticated this skill is. When you say, "Okay, let's think this through," you're not just talking. You're activating your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for rational thinking and emotional control. You're overriding your amygdala, the fear center that wants to hit the panic button. This is advanced emotional intelligence in action. Most people need external validation, coaching, or support to regulate their emotions. But you've internalized this process. You've become your own emotional support system, which makes you remarkably resilient and self-sufficient. Yet, being able to calm yourself down is only half the battle. You also need to retain the massive amount of information you consume daily. You read, you learn, you observe, and your brain processes volumes of data. This is where your voice acts as a biological hard drive, encoding information in a way that silent thinking simply cannot match. People who talk to themselves often have a sticky memory for things that matter. They do not just remember random facts. They retain important information, crucial details, and significant moments with remarkable clarity. Research shows that reading or speaking information aloud triggers what psychologists call the production effect. The act of speaking creates a distinct memory trace in the brain that thinking silently does not. When you vocalize information, your brain engages multiple systems simultaneously. Your motor system moves your mouth, your auditory system hears the words, and your cognitive system processes the meaning. This multi-sensory encoding makes the memory stronger and more accessible. You are not just repeating things for no reason. You are saving the file, backing it up, and making sure it is easily retrievable later. Your brain knows that by speaking it, you are marking that information as important, as worthy of long-term storage. This is why students who read their notes aloud tend to remember more than those who study silently. This is why you remember conversations better than texts. This is why talking through a problem helps you remember the solution. Your voice is a memory enhancement tool. You process life deeply and you refuse to let important details slip away. While others let information wash over them, you capture it, vocalize it, and store it deliberately. You are not passive in your learning and experiencing. You are active, engaged, and intentional. Think about how you remember phone numbers, addresses, or names. Chances are you repeat them out loud, even if just in a whisper. That is not nervousness or forgetfulness. That is strategic memory encoding. You are using vocalization to cement that information into your long-term memory. Here's what this all means and why you should never feel ashamed of talking to yourself. If you catch yourself talking out loud, it doesn't mean you are weird, eccentric, or on the verge of a breakdown. It means your mind is a high-performance engine that needs an exhaust pipe, a release mechanism for all the incredible processing it does. You have superior focus compared to those who fumble through tasks in silence. You have better emotional regulation than people who need constant external reassurance. And you have a stronger memory than those who passively consume information. You aren't crazy. You are just operating on a higher level, functioning with greater efficiency and self-awareness. The next time someone gives you a strange look for talking to yourself, or you feel self-conscious about muttering your way through a task, remember this. You're not doing anything wrong. In fact, you're doing something remarkably right. You've discovered, either through intuition or necessity, a cognitive strategy that enhances your thinking, sharpens your focus, regulates your emotions, and strengthens your memory. Your self-talk is a sign of intelligence, not instability. It's evidence of self-awareness, not self-absorption. It's proof of a mind that thinks deeply, processes thoroughly, and refuses to accept the limitations of silent contemplation. You are externalizing your internal brilliance, and there's nothing wrong with that. In a world that often misunderstands depth, that mistakes intensity for instability, that confuses self-sufficiency with strangeness, your self-talk is actually a badge of honor. It shows that you're engaged with your own mind, that you're actively working with your thoughts rather than being passively swept along by them. So embrace your conversations with yourself. Enjoy your debates, your narrations, your problem-solving sessions. You're not alone in this habit, and you're certainly not crazy. You're part of a community of deep thinkers, efficient processors, and self-aware individuals who have discovered that sometimes the best conversation partner is yourself. If you are the type of person who has full conversations with yourself, who narrates your actions, who debates your decisions out loud, you're in good company. You're among the thinkers, the analyzers, the self-regulated, and the deeply intelligent. And that's something to celebrate, not hide. Your voice is your tool, your companion, and your guide. Use it freely, without shame, without apology. Because talking to yourself isn't a sign that you're losing your mind. It's proof that you're making the most of the brilliant mind you have.